Hi, I'm Clark.
And I'm Emily.
On Sailing Vessel Temptress.
It's been another month living aboard in the Dominican Republic, and this is what the last 30 days has looked like for us.
Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Clark.
We opted out of a typical American life to live more independently, frugally, and off the grid.
We currently travel the world aboard our antique sailboat named Temptress.
Each month, we sit down to tell you where we are, what we're doing, share the best and worst moments, answer questions, and tell you exactly how much it costs us to live this life.
These are our adventure logs.
I went back to the States for about a month to do some game events, and now I'm back.
While she was away, I tore the boat apart and in the process of putting it back together.
The air conditioner units have sold out. While I was back, I sent out a whole bunch of them. I think there might be one left that's more of an internal use prototype, but no more air conditioners until...
It didn't work out with the business setup we had before, and I can't run this business, partly because I got a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah, but partly because it has to be done by somebody in the United States. This isn't like BankManagers where they're assembled, this is, someone has to solder and someone has to go to boat shows and promote it and the whole deal. It's a real business.
So if you're interested in air conditioners and you've got some business savvy and you want to do more, let us know.
Okay. Speaking of air conditioners, while she was gone, was probably nearly the hottest part of the year. It was so hot there for a while. Even though it wasn't August yet, it's pretty darn hot now. And since I had torn her apart, the aft cabin, I had to sleep up in the forward cabin with no air conditioner every night, sweating, saying, why?
So now we have air conditioning again.
Yeah.
Which is great. It is the hottest part of the year.
It really is.
Hence all the braids in the hair. It's just miserable and sticky. But it's okay. Coming up soon, we'll have to worry, I think, more about hurricanes. So I'd rather have the hot than the hurricanes, I guess.
Yep.
But hopefully we'll get some rain soon. What other projects have we been working on?
Well, let's see. I've put new solar panels on the bow of the boat. The ones we had were kind of fine, but they were quite big and they only put out 120 watts.
They were old.
They were
vintage.
old. Yeah. The 120 watts, it was nice to have, but nowadays 100 watts is just a little bitty panel because efficiencies have gotten better. I had those early panels since the 90s, and by the way, they cost over $1,000 a piece, and now they cost like 80 bucks. So solar has really changed. Anyway, they're up on the bow of the boat. I know nobody does that. I know I could lose them. I realize all this stuff. But it's an untapped territory for real estate, put solar panels.
Yeah.
Temptress being a counterstern is very limited to where I can put solar panels.
Yeah. And we have the awning, so it gets it out in front of the awning.
Yeah, when the awning's up. That's why I had it all wired for the bow. Used to be, before I built the arch for the solar panels, there was no way in the back that you could not have shading most of the day. So I built the front area only when we were anchored. And we just kind of had a couple extra panels when we did our new install, and it was like either haul them back to my shed where they would just live in a shed, which is stupid, or put them up there and put them at risk. Anyway, they've done pretty well up there, so I'm putting more up there.
What else we do? I did some deck work before I left. We did some repairs on the aft deck. We've started replacing the actual deck boards now where they're missing, so that's a long job because you have to do it one at a time with the lead weights and all that stuff, but we're doing them one by one again.
Yeah, if you've seen pictures of our deck, you know it sorely needs boards. The last time we were back, I bought a lot of teak, put it on a table saw, and milled half an acre of teak boards. So it's just a little thing we can do little by little. The thing she did just before she left, she pulled up like 2 boards. Okay, those 2 boards, she pulls them up. There was a crack in the glass.
Yeah.
So we pulled up. Half the aft deck was all pulled up, and since there was a crack in the glass, then I had to abandon that project and do a deck drain project.
Yeah.
Got the deck drain project working, then I glassed that all over and built that up. It's now needing teak decking, but
it's that classic little job that is expanded into other jobs.
Yeah, and then that was keeping me from finishing the aft cabin, which was holding me from air conditioning. It was a hot time. I found out our bilge pumps weren't working just recently. The little float switch was stuck. It's happened. I went down there, and of course it's bilge water, it's gross, but I just had to know. So after I reached in there and everything, I licked the back of my hand. It wasn't salty, it was fresh water. And I'm thinking, what the heck's going on? Do we have a leak in the deck somewhere? Because, it's a fair amount of water. I don't think we do. Then I thought, oh, geez, are we buying water and leaking it into the boat? Is this fresh water? Is this our drinking water? Don't think so, because the pump's not running much. And then like an hour later, it occurred to me, we've been running the air conditioner into the bilge. It's all air conditioner water. It was a fair amount of water. I really should consider collecting that water. It is fresh water. I did some other little projects. Emily now has a way to charge USB devices from her bunk, and she has proper lighting on her side. Haven't quite done it on my side
Yeah, you
yet.
gotta finish your lighting.
Yeah.
We're gonna paint the
Yeah.
cabin too, but I think we're gonna do the varnish and the paint sort of at the same time.
It's the where to draw the line thing. We wanted to move back into the cabin because it's so hot. And come fall, we're planning on possibly doing what we did to the saloon because it looks so nice.
Sand everything.
Strip it all down.
all.
Maybe get some local help to do the dusty work. And then we're going to paint it all and redo it. Total Boat gave us some really good varnish. We really like it. And it's one of the reasons we're doing this. And it'll just turn Temptress into better than new because it's that new modern clear varnish that looks so nice.
Yep.
So anyway, that's the project, but we just had to stop sometime. So it's pretty good now. It's definitely livable now.
Yeah, and it's dry.
It is
My
dry.
side is dry.
Yeah, I got
for
a
the
couple
most
leaks
part, So.
yet.
Okay, so aside from projects, daily life here in Luperon has been pretty good. So it's different in Luperon. In Georgetown, where we spent a few seasons before, it was kind of like summer camp for grown-ups. There was always something different going on and all kinds of events and special things. Here in Luperon, it's a little bit more rhythmic, I would say. Like every week, there's kind of the same things to do. They have yoga every morning. There's karaoke on Fridays, which I usually go to. There's something at Thursday nights called Captain's Table, where all the boat people get together at the same restaurant, and they have just kind of like a happy hour for things. There's a movie night on Monday nights, or occasionally on Monday nights now. So like, there's always something to do, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, there's a lot less, well, it doesn't have the transient, people coming in and coming out with new ideas. It's more like a small town. So here's the schedule, repeat if necessary. And it's a good schedule.
Yeah.
We know what works here. Okay, upcoming projects. I've been working with a young woman in the Bay here that wants to learn about electronics on what will be the new BankManager. It's going to be a ways out, quite a ways out, because this is a big project, but there's some interesting new features I've been just dying to add. So I started that. We have the first prototype board on the way in so we can do development. But, like I said, this kind of thing takes quite a long time. The first one took like a year. I got something really cool. It's a new propeller, and I might have a propeller problem. I think this will be 5 propellers we have on Temptress, just in case. But this is a Campbell propeller. It's made by West by, I'll put it up there, Industries. And I've always wanted one. I've always heard wonderful things about them. And like nobody knows about these things. Instead of just being flat panels like a Michigan wheel that spin around, this thing's like an airplane wing with cord to it. And the blades are actually fairly small in size, so it doesn't drag as much, but it makes a lot more thrust at low RPM, and it makes a lot more efficiency. And everybody I know that knows, there's people that just say, I bought this, so it's great. But I mean, guys that really are critical about it and go with numbers love this thing. And I've always thought it would be a great deal. Well, the guy there, we basically traded. He got a BankManager and I got the propeller. The propeller shaft on Temptress, we've upped the power and done all this, but we haven't made the shaft larger. And I'm starting to get this vibration, and it occurred to me, it's a 12-foot shaft and it's unsupported in the middle. So I'm putting a bearing in the middle of the shaft to support it. And I think that'll make everything work a lot better. So it's kind of all part of the same project.
Yes. And the big project is getting Temptress to move again.
Yeah, so we can leave next winter, should we choose to. Well, we're back to doing the budget and tracking our numbers. You've been very busy with that, Emily. What did you get?
Yes, we have a budget this month, but first I want to give you a disclaimer about the budget. I was talking to somebody earlier this month, and they were saying, they love our videos and they love how we do the budget, and then they got really apologetic, like, oh, we're not down to $1,000 yet, and we've been really trying, but this, and it was like, whoa. You don't have to spend the same amount as we spend. Everybody does it differently. So, I hope that people don't see this as a challenge, like you have to live on $1,000 a month, otherwise you're doing it wrong, or you're not frugal enough, or whatever that, thing that you've made up in your mind. So I want to say, this is how much we spend. And there are actually things, and we've said this before, there are things that aren't incorporated in there, because we have a huge pantry full of food, and actually this month I think is going to be a little higher because we've been depleting our stores a lot, and we need to do some provisioning. But absolutely, this is just cash flow, right? So we have assets that we're using up all the time, but this is really just cash flow of what we spent, not necessarily if we moved aboard the boat, it would take us $1,000. No, it would probably take us more if we just moved in the middle of nowhere.
You just made a delightful dish with dried mushrooms that we dried last time we were in the States.
Yeah. We have a lot of really past stored food and things like that. So with that disclaimer, let's look at what our cash flow was this month that we spent. This month we spent $1,198. Of that, we had a food expense of about $400, $198 in groceries, $161 for restaurants, and $51 for wine and alcohol. Household personal care and clothes came out to $85 this month. We both bought some new hats. Health insurance was $205. Boat project supplies, $132. Of course, we have lots of things in inventory already, so this was just odds and ends we bought. Our mooring is $60, as it always is. Our water and laundry budget was $107, which is a little higher than usual. We've been doing laundering more towels and blankets and things in town, hiring a local to do those for us, just because there's a lot of water that's required to do those, and we haven't been getting a lot of rain. Phone and internet comes out to $80. Hobbies and entertainment, which includes streaming services and a new ukulele case for me, was $44. And shipping was $75. So our total, $1,198.
Well, thank you, Emily. And Emily, what have you done with intentional living this month? What's your goals?
Yeah, we used to talk more about intentional living, I guess, and sort of direction and future and stuff like that. We've gotten kind of comfortable here. So I've been thinking a lot about Spanish recently. I've gotten pretty good at restaurant Spanish, grocery store Spanish. I've got a working ability to say what I want to say in Spanish, like a cave woman who only speaks in the present tense. Listening to Spanish and understanding what other people are saying is a little bit harder for me. I'm only getting maybe 40-50% of every sentence, so I can usually piece things together.
I'm still very impressed.
Yes, but I would like it to be better, especially if we're going down to Panama or whatever. And I've noticed myself shying away when I'm having actually conversations with locals that are more than just transactional. It's confusing for me, so I want to get better about that. I've tried Duolingo in the past, I've gotten vocabulary, but I need to get better at just learning by ear, I think. So if anybody has any suggestions about how to do that or things that have worked for you, I'd be curious to know. Leave them in the comments, because I would like to get better. And something that you can grasp onto too. You have a harder time with language than I do, because you...
I'm pretty good with engineering and that kind of thing, but I am terrible with language. And then my other problem is I learned passable French, and now when I try to speak Spanish, I mix it up with French and I just confuse everybody.
Yeah. So we should try to work on that more, I don't know, on a daily, weekly basis. But if you have any ideas about how to do it, let us know. We'll keep chugging away in the meantime.
Yeah, I think more stories and listening to Spanish approach than this textbook thing. It's just not working for me, at least.
Yeah, and if I can read the Spanish, I can understand it pretty well. It's just when I hear it, and when I hear a Dominican saying it versus, I learned more Mexican Spanish. So sometimes it's just hard to decipher what people are saying. Anyway. Yep. So we talk about best and worst of the month?
Well, I think the best thing for me, honestly, is being able to turn that darn air conditioner on again. It just makes life so much easier. Have a really nice night's sleep. just this pleasant place to get away from the overbearing heat when
Yeah,
it happens.
and bugs.
It's like you can take the heat all day as long as you have that time away. But if you don't, it just builds up and builds up to always be hot and sweaty all the time. And bugs, as you say. And now that we're having rainy, when you have to close down for the rain, it gets really humid. So just hitting that switch, and that's great. One of the reasons I added the extra solar panels, we kind of had enough, but A, when it's sunny, it lets us take a little siesta in the afternoon, maybe watch a movie or something with air conditioning. But B, we've had a lot of overcast skies here of late. Hurricane season's a-coming. And sometimes we look at the forecast, it's like 3 cloudy days. Well, we can't air condition tonight. I'll fix that when I put more lithium batteries aboard.
Yeah, we have a lot of lithium batteries aboard. They're just not hooked to anything.
Well, that's the thing too.
We have like 7 batteries sitting in the saloon right now.
We can't sit at the saloon with our legs down. We have to sit with our legs crossed because we have this storage of batteries, because I've been doing all these
like
battery
dragons
reviews.
with gold. It's just like batteries.
And they're not
Boat
hooked
full of
up
batteries.
because we're not going to use them on Temptress. What's happening, and it's starting to happen, people in the Bay are saying, oh yeah, I like that one, or I like those two, and they bring them in and they get a BankManager and they hook up. This is going to be like the most lithium-rich anchorage in the whole Caribbean because what we're bringing in. It's usually very difficult to bring things in and import things, but I'm taking care of that as part of the video deal, so it's working out. I think I have homes for almost everything that's under there right now.
Good. Because you have to get rid of them before you get any more.
Yeah, well, there's more coming. And there's one in particular that I have plans that I want to put into Temptress. So we're going to have a lot more than 200 amp hours of lithium. That's like on the very low edge of useful, and I want a little more. What was the worst thing that happened this month or lately anyway?
I guess being apart for so long was kind of crappy.
Yeah, that did suck. When she went off to the conference, it was like almost a month.
It was a month. It ended up being a month. It wasn't going to be a month, but it ended up being longer and longer and longer. They closed the airport that I usually take to get back, so that added a week on, and then I was just waiting for cheaper prices, and anyway, it got stretched out.
And other projects with the game and all kinds of stuff. Up until that point, from the day we met, the longest we had ever been apart was 5 days. So this was a big deal.
That. So it was a big deal, yeah. I guess it's not really the worst thing that happened, but I'm getting nervous about hurricane season coming up. We're in a safe place and everything like that, but there's always like, okay, do we need to start taking the awning down? We have to start checking the Atlantic forecast to see what's brewing. And then whenever there's a hurricane, you sort of like start watching it way too early. And then saying, well, it doesn't matter because we really don't know until like the day before or 2 days before what it's actually gonna do. So, but we're just getting in that mode.
Yeah, I've gone out and checked the lines for chafe and everything.
Yeah, sleeping in a swimsuit so you get up when it's pouring rain and take care of whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably about it for this month.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you to all our patrons who continue to send us support and talk to us on the phone about what you're working on and things that you need to do and advice that you need. All that is always fun. I know you've spent a lot of time on the phone with patrons this month.
Yep. And, you know, you guys are helping our channel out a lot when you send links to our video. We just got this new thing in YouTube where they report some new information on my phone anyway. It might have always been available on the computer. And the number of shares shows up, and it's really high. It's like more people are sending shares out than comments.
Yeah.
Well, that helps a lot. It, you know, of course, brings in new viewers, but it also is like, I think it helps YouTube know that we're legitimate. Because we've seen YouTube's numbers about how many times it presents us going up. Anyway, we're starting to get a lot. We're coming up on 75,000 subscribers, which is pretty damn exciting.
So keep sharing, keep subscribing,
Yeah.
keep leaving comments down below. Let us know what you're doing. We know it's kind of like coming down from that arc of boating season right now where people are using their boats if you're up north, and now you're starting to think about packing them away. So let us know what you're working on aboard your boat, and we'll talk to you next month.
Well, unless you're going cruising, and then it's the beginning of taking off for the Bahamas.
True. Hopefully. Hopefully. So thank you all for watching, and we'll talk to you next month.
Goodbye.
Bye.
When we met, we knew that we did things differently, but with no regrets, both living life authentically. So we packed up this antique boat to make a life upon the sea. For the worse and for the better, adventure.